Hi everybody, my name is Robert Schmidt. Today you're going to be seeing my final for fitness evaluation of an athletic performance. Right, my position for my final is a football running back. I'm going to put him through a battery of tests. Right, we're going to see his athletic performance and what level he's at, and this can really help if you're a coach or you have clients, you're a personal trainer or anything like that. Just when you initially meet your athlete, run them through a battery of tests, and you can really see where they are on an athletic and exercise scale and what they are ready to do. So let's get after this today, and I'm going to show you how to put your athlete through a nice series of tests and get ready to perform. So the next evaluation that we're going to do in our athlete is we're going to take his resting heart rate and his exercise heart rate. Take the resting heart rate, you have three locations. You can take the carotid, you can take the brachial, which is right in here below the bicep, or you can take the radial pulse, which is right on the side of the thumb. Right. So the way that you take the resting heart rate is that I'm going to use the radial pulse right here, and you can either count for 15 seconds multiplied by 4, do 30 seconds multiplied by 2, or you can just take for 60 seconds. So I'm going to take it for 30 seconds right here. So all you have to do is you find the pulse. You don't want to use your thumb because your thumb has your own pulse. So all you can do is you can take your two fingers right here, take a nice stopwatch that you have right here, and all you can do is you're going to find the athlete, tell them to relax, tell them to relax. You're going to find the athlete's pulse, right? Set up your timer and count. So I'm going to do it for 30 seconds right now. All right, great. So that was as an example. So he has a pulse that's around 28 seconds long, right? All right, so I just took his pulse for 30 seconds. He had 28 beats, right? So you would multiply that by 2, and that comes out to be 56, right? So that would be his resting heart rate, 56 beats per minute. So now, to get his exercise heart rate, I'm going to have the athlete, right, just do a little bit of an aerobic exercise to get his heart rate up so we can test his exercise heart rate. So he's going to do high knees with just a nice little aerobic exercise, right, that he's going to demonstrate. He's going to do it for 30 seconds, and then we're going to take his heart rate again right afterwards to see the difference in between the beats per minute. So please, athlete, demonstrate the high knees. So he just finished his exercise, so I'm going to continue to take his heart rate again. Okay, thank you. So it's very important while you take his heart rate that there isn't a long break in between the exercise and the heart rate, because that gives the heart a chance to get back to normal and the resting heart rate. So while I just took his heart rate, he was at 32 beats per minute in the 30 seconds. So you times that by 2, and so that comes out to be 64 BPMs. Right? For his age, which is 18 years old, he's in a very healthy bracket, right? And his heart rate is in a very healthy range as well. So he wouldn't have any disqualifications for exercise, and there's no concerns or anything. We can go right forward into the exercise program. So the next test we're going to do for our athlete is taking their blood pressure, right? This is very important to see what type of exercise shape they are in, and if they are ready to exercise and get into an exercise program, and just hopefully that they're in a healthy range and there's no risks that we have to worry about. So the instruments that you're going to need to use this test are a stethoscope and a blood pressure cuff, right? Those are the basic things those are the basic instruments that you need to take a manual blood pressure, right? Some things that you want to worry about and check before you do is that 1, your stethoscope is working and it's proper. 2, that your blood pressure cuff is also working, but also that it has the right size compared to your athlete's arm, right? Because the most errors occur when the blood pressure cuff does not fit your athlete or your client correctly, which will lead into false readings and not give you an accurate reading. So now I'm going to explain the process and the technique of taking an accurate blood pressure reading using a stethoscope and blood pressure cuff. So first, you want your athlete to be sit upright with feet on the floor and relax. So you don't want to do this after an exercise or anything like that. You want your client or athlete to be in a comfortable, relaxed environment. First step is you want their arm to be level, very relaxed. You don't want any muscle contractions or them flexing or anything like that. And you want it to be at around heart level, right around here. The next step would be to place the blood pressure cuff on the arm, right? You're gonna place it right on the bicep, right around the brachial artery. Unfortunately, I don't have the blood pressure cuff and a stethoscope to show you, but on the blood pressure cuff, there is a line that demonstrates which side of the bicep that it goes. It should go on the inside where the line says artery line, and that's going to be right here where the brachial pulse actually is. So you're going to make sure you're going to tighten tighten the cuff. It's very tight. You don't want any extra space or anything like that. The next step after the cuff is tightened, you're going to take your stethoscope right in here, find the brachial artery until you hear a nice strong pulse, and that's when you're going to stop again. You're going to pump the blood pressure cuff to around 160 to 180 on the dial, 160 180 millimeters, right? Then, okay, so when you are starting to deflate the cuff, you have to make sure that the stethoscope is in the right position. And while it is deflating at a rate of 2 to 3 millimeters per second, the first sound you're going to hear is going to be your systolic reading, right? Then you're going to wait until you hear the sounds start to fade and everything like that, and the last sound you hear is going to be your diastolic reading, right? So that would be your blood pressure reading for your athlete or client. A good range is 120 over 80 or 140 over 90. And remember, the first sound you hear is diastolic, and that's going to be your top number. The second number is going to be systolic, and that's going to be your bottom number on your blood pressure. Also, you may want to double check, do this, take the blood pressure more than once, 2 or 3 times to make sure you got an accurate reading your first time. Alright, so the next test that we're going to do for our athlete is the body composition, and for this we're going to use testing the body fat. So the way we're going to test the body fat is using skin calipers. There's 3 positions, 3 locations on the body that you test for them. I'm going to be using a male since my position is a football running back. So the 3 locations on the body are the pec, right here, right in the abdomen area, right next to the belly button, in the middle region of the thigh. Having body fat measurements for your athletes is very, very good because you can test how their program is developing and if their body fat is increasing or decreasing depending on what your need is for the position, right? And also if your progress is actually maintaining and you are making progress through your exercise program. Alright, so now that I have my athlete with me, I'm going to demonstrate the locations and how to pinch the skin for the body compositions and using the skin calipers. Unfortunately, I don't have skin calipers on me to use and demonstrate, but I'm just going to use my hands and the folds, and that should be enough to demonstrate and teach you how to take body fat on your athlete. So the first location I'm going to do, since I have a male, is the pec area, right? So you really want to take your hands in this position, right, using your pinky and your thumb, go from the nipple right to the armpit, right in between right here, right? And this is kind of a diagonal fold because that's how the muscle works. So really what you're going to do, you're going to take a nice pinch, right? You don't want to grab any muscle or anything like that. All you really want to do is grab the outer layer of the skin and the fat that may be in that region. So all you're going to do right here is you're going to take a pinch with one hand, like this right here, and then with the calipers on the other hand, you're going to just take it, make sure you hold it. Remember, holding the calipers is very, very important. Hold it, get your measurement with the measurement, and then let go. Right? You're going to want to do that 3 times for each region, so you get a nice average and everything like that for that measurement. The next location is going to be the abdomen, right? You want to go right around the belly button region, right next to it. And the preferable method is a vertical fold right here, but you can use a horizontal fold if necessary if you're not getting good measurements. So you're going to take a nice vertical fold right here, right around the belly button area, just like we did at the pec. It's a nice vertical fold right here. Take your calipers, pinch, get your measurement, and you're going to do that 3 times, right? If the vertical fold doesn't work, you can use a horizontal fold for that region. And also you want to take the measurements from different regions because people hold body fat in different locations of their body. The next area we're going to do is going to be the thigh, right? You want to be in between really the knee and the hip, right? So you want to take your hands in double hand position in this like we did for the pec. One right around the hip, one right around the patella of the thigh. Go like this. And so this would be where you want to take the thigh region right here, the body fat region. This is also going to be a vertical fold, right? So you're going to take a nice pinch right here, hold it with the calipers, get a nice region, get a nice measurement, read it, let go, let the muscle relax and everything like that, so your client nothing gets sensitive or doesn't be in pain or anything like that, and you're going to get 3 measurements right there. So then there's many different methods on how to convert your charges, many different equations, stuff like that. There's different charts that you can take the average of your measurement to, and that's how you would get your body fat measurement. All right, so that's really how you would really measure your body fat for your athlete. It really comes in help with measuring their progress and their development and everything like that, and if the program is actually working. All right, thank you. So the next test we're going to do comes from the functional movement screen, right? So from the variety of tests the functional movement screen offers, we're going to use the trunk stability push-up. The trunk stability push-up really tests the athlete's core, right here, the inner and outer obliques, and basically if they're able to do a push-up and if they have any shoulder pain, right? We don't want any shoulder pain or any core deviation because that would grade the score down. So the setup of the trunk stability push-up is on the floor, athlete face down. The feet are going to be together, right? The hands, we're going to start out the hands around the temples, right around here, as you can see our athlete, and then the hands are going to come all the way. The hands are going to come all the way out to about the AC joint, right? Then the athlete is going to flex his elbows upwards, right? He's going to straighten his legs out all the way, and then he's going to activate his core, right? So the way we screen this, the way that we test this test is to see if the athlete has any lagging or any jarring movement from the hips to the shoulders to the knees or the core. If he doesn't stay in the one straight plane, then we would score it down. He would not get a 3. We want to see the athlete stay all the way straight, maintain this position throughout the push-up. So basically, he has to maintain this straight plank all the way up and all the way down without having any pain in his shoulders or his elbows. All right? If the athlete would perform the movement, great, come back down. As you see, the athlete maintained the straight plank, so he would get a 3 on this exercise. Things that we want to avoid here is if the athlete has any pain up in the shoulders or the AC joint, we would score 0, and we would tell them to go to the doctors and get that checked out because we don't have our athletes getting any pain or anything like that. So we would avoid any exercises of that way. Also, any other deviation that we would like to see is if the hips come up late compared to the torso, or if the knees don't stay locked out through the entire time, to see if there are any instabilities in the body. So the reason why this is relevant, and I chose this test for our athlete, which is a football running back, would be it's very important for the running back to have core stability as while he's moving side to side, and that he has good shoulder stability so he doesn't fumble or while he takes on defenders to block, that he doesn't separate his shoulder or have any shoulder injuries. This is why that I chose this test for our athlete. All right, so the next test that we're going to do for our athlete and measuring his progress and his baseline and everything like that is going to be a max strength test. The strength test that I chose to do is the max bench press. I feel like this is very relevant for football and everything like that because one, they do it in the NFL combine, but instead of one rep max, they do 225 for as many reps as possible. But we're doing the 1 rep max because it's a max strength test. So the reason why this is relevant for a running back is because he has to make blockers and stuff like that. He has to take on defenders and use his arms to bench press people off. So that's why I chose this test. All right, so now I'm going to explain the procedure and the technique of the 1 rep max bench press. You're going to need a barbell, a rack, and a bench. So the athlete is going to lay down on the bench. His feet have to be plantly on the floor. He cannot raise his hips off the floor or anything like that. Feet have to maintain a good base. He's going to get his grip that he's comfortable with. Preferable grip for the position of the running back, I would say, would be more closer than the average bench press. I want more like shoulder width, a little bit wider than that. But if your athlete does have any shoulder issues or any muscular deficiencies, whatever grip he wants is okay for the press as long as the coach is okay with that. So then the next step of the process of the bench press is the athlete is going to raise the bar without any assistance. Then he's going to bring the bar slowly down to his chest. The barbell must touch his chest right around the nipple area. You don't want anything higher or lower to avoid any type of injuries or anything like that. And then once the barbell touches his chest, he's going to explosively bench the bar up. Arms have to be fully extended. It cannot be a 3/4 or a half rep. And then put it back on the bar. Once he has lifted the weight and put it back on the rack, the test would be complete. You want to do the max amount of weight as possible for this test. So first you want to start with lower weight, and work up to your max bench press so there's no injuries or anything like that. But also you don't want to put too much weight on the bar where the athlete cannot handle it and there is a chance of injury. So this test would be very good to test your athletes with. It's very quick, it's efficient, and you can get a very accurate score from it, which you can now develop your athlete from. The first test we're going to do today is the vertical jump test. It is very relevant to our athlete who's a football running back. because he needs explosive leg powers to get through the hole, break through defenders, jump up to catch passes from the quarterback, and it tests his overall explosiveness, which is very, very important to the game of football. Subject here, Joe Summersley, is my little brother. He's going to be testing the vertical jump test today. Right, as we see, we have a measured wall. Procedure starts with getting your standing reach. You get your standing reach by standing right next to the wall, extending your arm as much as possible to see what your reach is. It is at 16 inches right now, so that is his standing reach. The next step of the process will be the athlete will take one step back. After he takes one step back, he is allowed to reach his arms up, come all the way down into a squat position, into an explosive position, and then jump up and touch the wall. As you see, his reach right there was a 35 jump, right? So he touched the wall at 35 inches, then his reach was 16 inches. So the way that we get his vertical jump is we take his jumping reach and his standing reach and we subtract it. So that would be his vertical reach. Some disqualifications of this test would be if the athlete did not touch the wall, didn't clearly touch one single digit, or if he took one step, which is a disqualification, and that would lead us to redoing the test. So the next test that we're going to work on is the cardiovascular test for our athlete. The cardiovascular test that I chose is the basic beep or bleep test that many people call it. There's many different variations of this test. The basis of this test for what I chose is 20 meters, right? So there's one cone at the starting point and another cone at 20 meters apart. And the way this works is the athlete starts at the starting point, and once he hears the sound of beep, he runs to the other cone. And once he hears another beep, he runs to the other cone. Initially, this test starts out very slow, right? But it progresses after about 1 minute, and it gets faster. The pace that the athlete has to run is faster. The beeps get closer, which means it's faster. So, for example, between cone 1 and cone 2, or line 1 and line 2, if it took 1 minute for the beep to get there, now it can take 30 seconds. So now, since the beeps are getting closer together, the athlete has to run at a faster pace. So this is how you actually end up scoring the test. Once the pace gets faster and faster and faster, the athlete is eventually going to miss a beep or not be able to keep up. So the way it works is that once the athlete is running, if he misses the beep to get to one line, right, you give him a warning, right? And then if he misses the next two initial beeps, right, without getting to it, that's when you score. So that's how many beeps that he got, and that would be the score of the test. So now I'm going to have my athlete demonstrate the beep test for us, right? So instead of actually having a device that goes beep, I'm going to say the beeps first, and I'm going to show you how the test is actually progressing in the different stages of the test. So now I'm going to start the test by my athlete. Beep, beep. Now, as you saw, that was at a slow pace. Now it's going to get faster. The beeps are going to get faster. So beep, beep. Now you saw that was a little bit more progressed and advanced because the change of direction was a lot faster than before. And this would be a very advanced and a high score, and would end up being a high score on the beep test. Beep, beep, beep. And he just made it at the end, as you see. He just made it at the end. So that's really how you would demonstrate and run a beep test for your programs, athletes, or clients. I hope it was helpful. Thank you. So the next test we're going to do is the speed test. Right, this is going to test our athletes' acceleration and top speed. The speed test that I chose is the 40-yard dash. I chose the 40-yard dash because it's relevant to football and the running back position, because it shows that he has to accelerate in a short period of time while maintaining speed for at least 20 to 30 yards. So kind of the technique of the 40-yard dash is usually the athlete to accelerate and get to his top speed as fast as possible. It's the first 5 to 10 yards the athlete is trying to accelerate and get to his top speed as fast as possible. So for this to happen, the athlete's first 5 to 10 yards, that his steps are usually longer, and he's staying lower to the ground, and then once 10 yards comes around, he's trying to stand up, his knee drive is getting higher, and he's trying to get as much foot contact as possible. This will lead to his top speed and the best time available. So the athlete is going to demonstrate this on in a modified scale. We're only going to do it around a 20-yard burst, because we don't have the space for 40 yards right now, but we should get a good idea on how to perform the 40-yard dash. This should give any coach the relevant information to do a 40-yard dash with his athletes if they need to, right? We're going to do it in the modified scale of the 20 yards because of space needs, but the athlete is going to demonstrate the proper technique and how to accelerate and run, and also any coaches who need any questions or anything like that, this should be able to answer on how to time and set up a 40. So now I'm going to ask my athlete to demonstrate. Please. So the next test we're going to do is the agility test, and the agility test that I chose is the 5-10-5. This translates to the game of football in the running back position because it shows how well they can change direction in a short period of time and how well they can control their body and possess body control during their cut that they make. Also, changing direction in a short period of time and making their cut assists in avoiding the defenders during the game. The procedure of this test, it consists of 10 yards, right? We're on a football field right now, so it is lined, as you can see, but we have cones to show where the athlete has to touch. The beginning of the test is you're going to start right in the middle of the 10 yards, which is at 5 yards, right? The athlete is going to straddle the middle cone, right? Starting point is his hand has to be on some point of the ground, right? The disqualification of this test would be if any of his body position was leaning one way or the other, right? So here, the athlete has the choice of starting right or left. It doesn't matter. You can test both ways to see if the athlete has favoring one leg or the other, or if one leg is stronger than the other one. But that is up to the coach itself, if he has time spans or anything like that. So the first distance will be the athlete going right. He's going to turn and go 5 yards to the right. His hand must touch the cone, right? His foot does not have to pass the cone if anything happens. All he has to do is his hand has to touch the cone. Once his hand touches the cone, he's going to burst into the other direction to a 10-yard sprint, right? Then he's going to touch the other cone, right? Once he touches the other cone, he's going to change direction again and come through the middle. The clock will stop once any body part finishes through the middle line. Right, so that is the test done through slow motion, right? If any questions or anything like that, you have to address your athlete. That is the basis of the test. So now that the athlete is in starting position, he's going to demonstrate the full test, the full 5-10-5 at full speed, right? So the way it moves is he's going to start on his first move. So now that he's ready to go, I'm going to take a step back and he's going to demonstrate. Okay, great. So as you see, the athlete just finished the whole entire test. He ran that direction, hand touched the cone, ran the other direction, hand touched the cone, and finished full speed. And so he had certain technique to the drill, but he stayed low center of gravity, which made him able to push off and have a longer stride and burst at the other side. That would be the proper technique. Also, you see that he did not spin around while he chose right. Another part of this drill that you can see is that he chose right, so he may have a dominant left leg or like to start on the right side if that's possible, right? So you could do further things and develop your athlete that way. Alright, so that is the end of my project and my instructional video. I hope that you got a lot out of it and you know how to do all the tests in the correct format for your athletes in the future. I thank you for watching the video, and I hope that everybody has a good summer and you got a lot out of the video, and that it was just instructional overall, and that you gained a lot of information from it. I thank you for your time for watching my video, and go get your athletes prepared for the season. Thank you.